All right. Now, before I made my video about Chud the Builder, um, I heard somebody make a video or make a comment about it was that Flacco guy. I think it was the Flacco guy, and he talked about how it's a narrative among these racists that blacks have low impulse control. You heard that Brad and sitting in the truck say that. But none of them attacked this guy. None of them attacked him. Now, is that impulse control? I don't think so. I don't think in their heart they were exercising impulse control. But on the outside looking in, you have to call it impulse control. They say that we turn to violence easily and that we tweak out when we hear the N-word come from a white person. Why ain't they attacked him yet? Oh, because he got firearm on him. And, for the most part, he's dealing with a bunch of pookies who are not masked up and who are not licensed to carry. That's why these gangbangers, he's getting gun charges because they're never licensed to carry the firearms that they have. They always have it illegally. So these dudes are not going to just, hop out of their ride, face showing. They're in the parking lot of some grocery stores, this guy, and pull out a firearm to start busting. And I doubt they're even armed. I doubt many of them guys down there, I think it's in Nashville, down there in Nashville, are even armed at the time. But even if they were, I don't think they'd use it. Not right there on the spot like that. But I do believe that if it was a black man maybe attacking their set, if these were gang members, I don't know what the gang population is in Nashville. I haven't even looked it up. I think somebody would have came back and did something, masked up. Oh, that Pookie, it's stronger for blacks or against, black men when it comes to their gang set and stuff like that. Or maybe even if a black man was being rah-rah. Some cats might have came back or caught him somewhere. See, it's kind of harder for a lot of blacks to do stuff like that because there's a good chance somebody know your family or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And somebody gonna get up with you. It's easier to get up with black people. Even in larger cities, it's weird. A lot of people know other people or somebody in their family. But a Brad can just come from the suburbs and tweak out. Right? But, there's no way you could say it wasn't a display of impulse control if their narrative is that we turn to violence whenever we're called the N-word or offended. It didn't happen there. So that theory failed. That's irrefutable. That theory failed. However, also, I believe, and I said this a long time ago, I believe that all black men, at some point in their life, most of them still to this day, view Brad as an authority figure. Okay? That's what I've been talking about this. How they look up to Brad because their mothers are this way. They idolize Brad and everything that comes from Brad. And, in the 60s and 70s, black men were fighting everything that came from Brad. The N-word, the names. You remember back then, A lot of black men were even changing their names. Look, man, you're not going to name me or nothing like that. Just rejecting everything that come from Brad. Well, when the majority of black America was under the mothers, there was this worship of Brad inside the home with the kind of movies that were played. You know, the heroes, the characters that were celebrated amongst their mothers, aunties, and whatnot, or a bunch of Brads. Black men grew up watching this. The Supermans, you know, the tough guy Brads throughout the movies growing up. There were idols. There were no, you know, militant black men trying to police nothing, there to tell the black boys, look, don't fall for this movie, macho, Brad, Superman nonsense. I'll go out there and slap one of these Brads right now. They're really not this tough. This is all cinema, it's all movies. As a matter of fact, you need to pay attention what you're looking at. You're looking at some degenerate nonsense, most likely. Some sick horror crap. Anyways, there's a lot of degeneracy in Hollywood. It's nothing but degeneracy. Degenerate behaviors celebrated. The number one thing celebrated in society amongst, I would say, white America. I grew up with white America. You know, I've been around white people. I know it's sarcasm. Say it ain't. When it comes to their comedy, it's heavily engulfed in sarcasm. Sarcasm is not a positive personality trait. Makes people not want to be around you. When all you want to do is put people down. Okay? So there's a lot of degeneracy that has come through the TV that Keisha's never taught against, man. The only thing I've ever seen was one who fought against kids watching horror films. That was the most I've seen. And that was my auntie. Aside from, and nudity as a child. But once you get older, a little bit older, you can watch whatever you want for the most part. So, and you got to remember, the television, when there was no internet, was their internet. That was their social media. Man, do y'all know, see, a lot of y'all, especially y'all my age, y'all need somebody to trigger your memory. Didn't many of you have mothers who watched the soap operas every day? Every day you came home from school, she was watching the soap operas? True or false? I was born 1977. Those of you around my age, tell me I'm lying. I know the women in my family were not the only ones obsessed. Never missed an episode of the soap operas. And then it went into Oprah. Then it went into, a bunch of other degenerate nonsense. A lot of degeneracy celebrated. And Brad was always the centerpiece of it all. So, who else? See, I hate when people try to deny the influence of parents. And if it's only one parent there, it's the influence. See, they don't like it because it's a female. Screw that. It was fathers being as reckless and careless as parents. People would talk about it. Want to hear that nonsense? If I'm the only parent, I have even more responsibility. But I believe a lot of black men look at Brads as authority figures, especially a Brad like this. Do you know what this Brad was really trying to do? He's trying to project the image of a police officer. The mustache, the hat, the open carry. They see cops bullying blacks, men all the time on the internet, in the real world. They see cops And they admire cops for that, if for nothing else. But you got to remember, Brad and Becky will slap a cop, attack a cop in a heartbeat, especially when they're drunk. They really don't like cops. To be honest with you, the only time they like cops is when cops are attacking black people, for the most part. Then suddenly cops become heroes. And remember all the cop movies we watched growing up. Die Hard, Bruce Willis. Man, I would be here all day going over the super macho Brad heroes growing up. Brad wasn't nothing but a hero. And before all the movies, for us when we were kids, it was cartoons. He-Man. What's up, Brad? WWF. The Brads were the central figures. All the Brads. There were no black central figures of WWF. Everything we grew up on. And we all knew that the Transformers was all Brads. They had Jazz. I guess he was supposed to be a black Transformer, but whatever. And what's that other one that turned into a boom box? That's supposed to be their urban type of thing. They were not the centerpieces. It was Optimus Prime, who sounded like a cop. This stuff brainwashed us. Keep it a buck, man, just like it do with everybody else. Black people and white people. And everybody across the world who grow up on this. It brainwashes you. And that's what it's meant for. To shape your perception of the world and people in the world. And of yourself. And a lot of black men, especially the ones under Keisha's rule, fall into that. They fall for that. Fall for that conditioning. When really, these dudes be like, they're usually cowards. They're almost always cowards. Cowardly, dude. You could slap a buff Brad. There's a good chance he's gonna fold. And you can be about 180 pounds. He got outweigh you about 50. There's a lot of them that never grew up fighting, man. I'm telling you, when I went and moved among like all Brads, I learned things like that blew my mind. Going to school with these guys, and it was only like two black dudes in that school. This was a high school, man. Them dudes, I came across numerous of them. Never had a fight in their life. A lot of them grow up like this. So they get this complex like, oh, I got to figure out how to be tough. And, they always nervous around black men, all this kind of stuff. Because they know we grow up fighting. And dude. So they grow up with this bitterness against us. While we're looking at them as heroes. As macho guys, Superman, tough guys, He-Man, Hulk Hogan, right? And y'all get punked into this Keisha governed super Brad image. You all grow up in condition, though. For the most part, these Brads who walk, or these white supremacist Brad who walk around acting tough, if they were to ever actually get into a fight with these black men, most of them would get washed. Most of them would get washed. Now, some of them will whoop these brothers, no doubt. Especially the ones that's trained in mixed martial arts, the ones that's hopped up on steroids. That gives them an advantage. But blacks have advantages too. They're said to have, quicker, fast twitch muscles. There's some brothers juicing up. But there's some brothers, a lot of brothers, who work out naturally and who are really as strong as many of the Brads who are on steroids. I know many of you, especially those brothers who lift heavy weights, you've seen these cats in the gym. You've seen them in the gym. They'll think that you're on steroids. Just because you can rep 315. It's like, dude, what's wrong with you? This ain't that much weight. Ooh, you're not on steroids? Oh my goodness. No, I'm not. I'm to find out they injecting all this kind of stuff just to rep 315. Because they're not on this, high grade stuff. I'm telling you, and I am one of the weakest of all black men. I'm telling you, pretty much every black man I've worked out with was much stronger than me. Much. That 315, I can only do 2 reps on a decline, dude. The weakest black dudes I worked with was repping 315 3-4 times on a flat bench, which is much harder. Even on the incline, I'm not touching 315 on the incline. I struggle with 215 on the incline. So they have this belief. They understand, these brads understand that they got this kind of, because they see how they behave in their presence. A lot of you give these brads too much authority over you. Like that brad I talked about yesterday, who was trying to control me, basically. And there was a lot of people around. This was in front of a Kroger. There's people going in and out of Kroger. It was nice out here yesterday. I had my work clothes, I had my vest on. And he was real short. I'm 6'1", 6'2" in boots. This dude come up to like my stomach. And he had a truck. It was one of these little small dudes with the Napoleon complex. So I guess he looked at me and figured, do you work over here? I'm not about to tell you where I work. You goofball. He wanted me to do something stupid, right in front. So I made him look stupid because I walked up to him. I made it a point to get close to him to let him. I'm looking dead at you, and I'm gonna walk by you, me mugging you the whole time. Ain't gonna say nothing to you. First of all, I don't know you. You don't know me. I'm not about to tell you where I work. And I think you being arrogant right now. There's a working chimp. He must be one of the good ones. He must be one of the ones, who are trying to be more like us Brad. So I got authority over this guy. These are weird dudes. Insecure dudes think like this. They think of ways to try to feel macho and manly. Don't you have these dudes at work where they just acting over macho for no reason? Trying to act over tough for no reason? It's like hard to even deal with their presence. They always trying to act tough. This is what this is. So this guy was using the N-word repeatedly. And here's the thing that blows my mind. You would think that black men who use the word would laugh and have no reaction when the Brad uses it. Because it's like, we use it all the time. If there's anybody that's not going to get offended, it's going to be these black men who use the word all the time. This double standard should have never even started among black men. It never should have started. Just like the word bounce off you when other black men use it, you should let it bounce off you when Brad use it. Because, and I talked about this on my SBW channel, they look at that as a weakness in us. React or becoming emotional when they use that word. They look at it as a flaw in our psyche. And for the most part, they all look at that as a weakness. You're letting words get you excited, animated. Now I get it. The black men who get rah-rah, want to knock the Brad out, you're doing it because you know that this Brad is trying to offend you. He could just as easily call you the B word and you would be ready to knock him out, to lay him out. But, and that's understandable. If it's all about being offended, And all, you know, I understand, Brad, that you're trying to insult me as best you possibly can. That's how I think a lot of black men are looking at it. Because they use the word all the time. They listen to it in their music. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they'll let Brads use it as long as the Brads is talking like a black man and got all black friends. You see them Brads, would it be the only Brad and like surrounded by nothing but black dudes? They'll be letting the Brad use the word. Because they figure, oh, you're not using it in an offensive way. You with us. You one of us now. So I think intention is behind a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it is about that particular Brad or Karen's intention, or Enrique, whoever might use it that ain't black. You trying to, you know, insult me and use in the worst way possible. So now I gotta slap you up. But you gotta catch these hands now. You obviously want it. You want to take it there. Okay, I'll take it there with you. That's hard to resist. These Brads know that. You know, hey Brad, go around and call black men the B word, an F-tard, or whatever your phrases y'all like to use. A B-boy, right? You might get beaten up still. You know what I'm saying? You still might get these hands and feet put on you. So aside from the intent, I agree. Now, what I actually talked about was online. I see a lot of black men getting offended and tweaking out online. That's when it's really pathetic. Because it's like, you know, they're online. Of course, they're going to call you the N-word online. You know, I see brothers making video responses, talking in response to the Brads in the comment section using the N-word. It's like, don't do that. That's why they calling you the N-word, because they're on the internet. They're not in your face. The average Brad is not going to call you no N-word to your face. It's just not. Well, aside from this Brad. But you see, it was under special circumstances. He going around a lot of pookies. Let's just be honest. A lot of these dudes is pookies. You can tell. He's going around a lot of pookies who not licensed to carry, and he knows it. They're not, you know, from what I heard, if you got anything on your record, you can't own legally open carry. When I went to purchase, and I went to a store to purchase my firearm, they took my license. That's what they took it for. To check your criminal record. And that's why they get a lot of black men in the system at an early age. These Brads sit up and think about this stuff all the time. They always thinking about us. That's where we need to start, black men. So they know a lot of stuff we don't think about ourselves. They know that there's not many of us who are licensed to carry, and we're not riding around we're not open carrying. But I'm telling you, down there in Nashville, y'all need to be. Shout out to that brother who was licensed to carry and filmed him, live streamed him, and Chud folded. But this dude used that word repeatedly to get, because they believe that's the way to get you. And now think about that. Think of how twisted and distorted of a person you got to be to just get off on seeing people get upset when you intentionally try to offend them. How weird and how dorky of a retard do you have to be? And a lot of them are like this. They're itching to call a black man the N-word or a boy, or make some snide racial joke just to see you get offended at their intent to offend you. A lot of black men just want to slap them for that. It's like, you idiot. As if there's something funny and entertaining about that. Like, again, only a person with a twisted mentality goes there, takes it there. I think that when it comes to Brad using the N-word in person, it's like a complex discussion. You know what I'm saying? Because they will throw hands with you. They will throw hands with these Brads. A lot of these black dudes was ready to throw hands. That dude that was at his truck, he said, let's box. Ain't that what he said? Wait a minute. Because before he said that, he was like, why you keep using the N-word? What you keep using the N-word for? Stop using the N-word. He was like, why? What you gonna do about it? Ain't that right? Let me see if I can find this video. He like, stop using the N-word. And the black dude was like, let's box. The dudes who got out of that car, they was like, put your phone down. And there was multiple of them. Now, they would have no doubt stomped him out if he wasn't armed. You know, so that's like a, I don't know, that's like that's a complex scenario. Whether or not they look at Brads as authority figures, I don't even think they do. And that's a serious problem. That's a serious problem. We got to stop looking at these dudes as authority figures. You got to stop admiring these dudes. Especially the ones who come out and try to talk to you and they don't know you. They're usually racists. And they're trying to trigger you. That's the whole point in talking to you. People just don't walk around talking to people they don't know. And the thing is, like that Brad the other day, a lot of black men respond to that. You know, you allow them to control the conversation, the social interaction. You allow them to be the brains of the circles when they really shouldn't be. You know, you fall for their fake display of authority too much. I see that all the time, man. And there's no doubt that's part of, because I think they would have, let me back this up. That was a major part of this, because they would have stole on them. Somebody should try to stole on them. I mean, at least he wasn't open carrying inside no mall. And even with his firearm. Yeah, that old looking at him as authority figures was heavily at play. And that's a serious problem. That's a serious problem. But at the same time, you know, there's not many Brads who do this. So there was probably like a shock value to it, right? Where usually when Brads act out like this, they do it because they're armed. You know, a lot of men, when they see other men acting out and being aggressive, overtly aggressive, going overboard like this guy, being that sure that, you know, nothing could happen. A lot of people understand they usually do it because, wait a minute, they usually do it because they are armed. And a lot of times, they just get scared of these Brads. Let's give it a buck. These Brads smug you. They can punk you. They understand that. They all I got to do is put on this macho act, and it'd be an act. That's what be killing me. They rehearse this stuff in the mirror. They figure, yeah, I got it down pat. Let me go use it. And you slap them, and they start crying. Wait a minute.
Really try to hide nothing like that because you putting it on.
Okay, see, we can't hear nothing. I don't want to hear the comment. I want to hear some of the stuff he was saying. Right? I'm telling you, this is what they do, man. And a lot of y'all buy into it, man. Because, you know, they do their best Chuck Norris, Bruce Willis impersonation. And they know you know, you grew up on that. You conditioned by that just like they are. They watching UFC, watching these MMA fighters and all this kind of stuff. Getting they macho act on. And a lot of times it's an act. And a lot of times these brads will whoop you. They'll tell you, they'll kick your butt, man. A lot of them will, man. Especially because a lot of them are into things like wrestling, mixed martial arts. But a lot of them will still get washed even with that. I got in a fight with a guy. I told that story before. Got in a fight with a guy who knew jiu-jitsu. And he got washed. So, you know, I'm saying 100%. We shouldn't let the N-word get to us to the point where we'll lose something valuable to react to it. You know what I'm saying? Let's say at your job, a Brad at your job use the word. You know, you still on him. There's a good chance you're getting fired. And there's a lot of, you know, I think there's a lot of black men willing to do that. Just still, but a lot of them won't. There was a Brad at my job who did that. Having some racist temper tantrum. Ain't nobody touch him. But it was an older man, so I don't, you know, it's too many variables. In this scenario, man, these black dudes look bad. This was embarrassing. This is embarrassing for every black male that was on camera here. They all had a poor reaction, a poor response, a less than standard response. You know what I'm saying? It is hard to believe that there's that few black men who open carry down there. That's crazy. I open carry. I don't care. Don't nobody bother me. Okay, look, man. These dudes, they bank heavily on their belief that we all got criminal records. They do. And if we don't get criminal records, then we too young and pookied out and just unprepared. Most of the time, you know, most people don't carry firearms when they're out and about in the stores and Walmarts and stuff like that. You know, he kind of went overboard with that. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if he was open carrying inside of these places, but he was outside. You saw it at the gas station. So when you're outside, you can open carry, but most establishments won't let you open carry inside of their establishment, right? Y'all see the signs all the time, no firearms allowed inside and stuff like that. So he kind of tweaked but I don't know. Again, Nashville, I don't know. Yeah, I always thought there was more Southerners who open carry. For him to be like this lone open carrier, and I do suspect too that he was maybe kind of selective with the people he tried that with, because you saw him with a lot of bums. He went up to a guy holding up a sign, a homeless guy. A homeless guy. So, and a lot of these guys was young. He's clearly not young.
You get the overall.
I found them in the trash.
You found these in the trash? Y'all don't know who I am?
Like, going to clown homeless black men for content, right?
That's what I thought, Nick.
Yeah, I thought this was a kid too. He worked at this store. It looked like a grocery store. Them kid jobs. That's them jobs kids get when they're in high school and whatnot. This looked like a teenager almost. You know what I'm saying? And even he, I think, no, he got punked.
I'm right here.
You better
I'm right here. You right there. I don't think he was open carrying in there. But he would have caught a case. But I don't know. I don't know. He wouldn't have caught no case. He probably could have laid him out and not caught a case, right? Because that lawyer said you can't go around doing that and get attacked and claim self-defense. Ain't that right? But look, maybe some black men didn't want to go through with the whole process, going to court and all this stuff. I don't know. But I have to say, these dudes.
That's what we're talking about. Don't park in the fire lane no more. That's what we're talking about. They chimping it. That's what I thought.
That was the same guy from inside the store. He followed him outside, is what it was, right?
Come on, come do something. What's the issue? Because I out. He chimping out. He said, "What's the issue?" Because I looked at him.
Chimping out.
He chimping out.
Put that phone down.
Why? You don't like looking ugly?
They would have beat him up here. Even though they was young. They was ready to beat him. Because they didn't back off until they saw his firearm.
Come on, come do something. Come do something. Pull up. Yeah, walk up. That's what I thought. They chimping out. They chimping out. Turn your music down and don't park in the fire lane no more. That's what we're talking about. Don't park in the fire lane no more. Look, they parked in the fire lane.
Yeah, and that's the same one inside the store. Man, like yeah, he looks young. A lot of these dudes do look like easy targets. And a lot of them don't. Well, I won't say a lot of them. There's a lot of clips in this. Wait a minute.
Why you think I'm such like a whore?
Yeah. What'd he say?
You? You? Yes. This guy bothering you?
Okay. Is this guy chasing you, man? And the black guy said yes.
Why you think I'm such like a whore?
He said, why you think I'm dressed like a whore? Is that what he said?
Why you think I'm such like a whore?
This is where he got punked. Somebody slapped his phone out his hand. He didn't use his firearm. What happened to the firearm? What happened to the tough guy there? Somebody slapped his phone out his hand. And then they kept standing there. The guy, he got punked right here. He got punked. And I think that black guy was younger than him. But, he didn't have a record. And, he seemed like a productive.
But I'm licensed to carry too. We both licensed to carry. I finally ran into him.
He said, I finally ran into him. So this black dude was obviously somebody who had a license to carry, who was looking for dude. Like, okay. Most of us ain't, this dude was highly selective.
But I'm licensed to carry too. We both licensed to carry.
He seem older, don't he? Chud ain't want no smoke. This was after somebody slapped the phone out of his hand. Yeah, most dudes can't fight. Most dudes can't fight, dude. Once you see them start throwing punches, they throw like windmills like girls. Most dudes. Believe it or not, man. Believe it or not.
I finally ran into him. He got his, I got mine. But he on the phone with the police. He just obviously started with somebody.
No way.
I was backing up into this spot.
When? This is what white people.
Mr. Chud is carrying up.
That motherfucker was in Clarksville the other day.
He get it on. Yeah, see y'all real. No. Well, y'all.
Now, these dudes took a huge L. These are older cats.
Want to interview?
Wait a minute.
Come on. Y'all are grown-up professionals. You got a high-dollar watch on your wrist. You ain't chipping out. Y'all are cool. I like y'all. So for real, Popeyes?
That's the one. Go down.
Bro, you should work. They should get. They call me
Hey,
Charlie
was
Kirk.
he being trying to be friendly?
Mr. Chud is carrying up.
That motherfucker was in Clarksville the other day.
He get it on.
Yeah, see y'all real. No. Well, y'all want to interview? Come on. Y'all
He
are
said, I don't want no interview with your crazy ass.
grown-up professionals. You got a high-dollar watch on your wrist. You ain't chipping out. Y'all are cool. I like y'all. So for real, Popeyes?
She took a stab at him with "you ain't chipping out." So, you know, he did that. Yeah, y'all took an L right there. That chimping out, that's that monkey reference these white supremacists always going on about. They be all online. You used to find their forums and be littered with chimp this, monkey this. So yeah, y'all took an L right there. Because these seem like some older dudes. Because he wasn't on that really with these dudes, right?
That's the one. Go down.
Bro, you should work. They should get. They call me Charlie Kirk. You're gonna be the next Charlie Kirk. The bucket beaters. What up, kids?
Did you donate, please?
Nah, man. I told you last time. What was that?
More youngsters. Trying to act tough knowing these teenagers. This dude was a coward.
What'd you tell me to do, boy? That's what I thought. Watch your fucking mouth.
Them was teenagers. Yeah. You see he gets the rowdiest with the younger they are. At least from the clips that I've seen. He gets rowdiest with the younger you are. The more you look like a teenager, that's when he really tries to get his content. Right? Right. Yeah, ain't it crazy? Disrespecting black men for no reason, unprovoked. It's content for him. How you know that? Look at all his supporters. People who donated to him. He got a lot of support. They say that he's fighting the good fight. Yeah, he's fighting the good fight, brother. Let me see if I can pull this back up. Last time I looked, he was at like 51,000, right? Yeah, here it is. Right there. Yeah, okay, yeah, here it is. He's at, okay, no. 52,000. That's still a lot. He's at what? 1,200 donors? So, yeah, this is a major grift. It's a major grift because there's a lot of them out here. You remember that lady who got like $1 million? And she tweaked out on a kid. I think he was like 5 years old or something. Got like $1 million. That's a huge audience. Just for, provoking black men unprovoked. Going around harassing black men unprovoked. And really, it's not really, again, that was a baby she attacked. This dude was pretty selective. This guy was pretty selective with who he did that with. And the first looked like grown dudes who pressed him, he folded instantly. That's why that photo is so believable. Yeah, I believe that was him in his younger years. You see, he old now, got bad skin, falling, and he getting desperate. Because he broke, lost his job, and supposedly all he had was his content. Then he lost that, he can't get monetized now. So all he has is this right here. He on his last leg. This is a goofy brat who crashed out, tried to use the typical white supremacist, racist, antagonized blacks to wag your finger at their low impulse control. Oh, you can't take it. Me calling you the N-word. It's just so goofy and degenerate, man. It's like you want so bad just to slap these dudes, man. It's like, beat it, man. These dudes are trouble. The true troublemakers. Now remember, like I said, this country, I think, is a good 50-50. I think black Americans make up a good half of this population, no doubt. According to their own statistics. I already broke it down using statistics. And yet, they lead in crime stats. By far. By far. And we're seeing why. You don't see no black version of Chud the Builder or Charlie Kirk. You don't see no black male version of these degenerates. You don't. This is a unique, personality characteristic that permeate through their population only. The Brad population and the Becky population. Because you got these Beckys doing the same thing. Who's that Becky YouTuber who got demonetized? Right? That Becky YouTuber was doing the same thing. The blackface. How many of them done this? Use this same playbook. Crash out and be just these weirdos, these ultra weirdos. And just, I think a lot of black men just want to put hands on people like this because they creep them out so much. I refer to blackface. That's not even offensive to me, man. Blackface is weird because we don't do that. We don't do that. But, the N-word, I think, shouldn't be, that's why I don't use it. Now, I was watching this video by Grant Magazine, did a special on the N-word. And this is shameful stuff. This is, let's go.
And I couldn't help that it was my skin color. One time, guys always want to date lighter skinned people.
Oh, here we go.
And so I heard.
Oh Lord, brace yourself.
My first encounter with the N-word was basically my entire childhood. I grew up in Inglewood, California, and my dad, he's in a gang, so he would say the word around me. My cousins would say the words around me, and so I heard it a lot. And then going to school, I heard it as well, so it was a very commonly used word. When my dad said it wasn't bad, but like if students at school said it, it was like, oh, you can't say that at school. Living in a neighborhood where it's predominantly black, lighter skinned people are considered better people. So you're like, guys always want to date the light skinned.
Stop. This is off subject, but Lord, stop. You're just most likely darker than most black people, and you're not attractive. Simple as that. Most women are gonna look better than you and be lighter than you. Jeez.
Girl and all this other stuff. So one time this guy came up to me. He was like, "You're so pretty. If only you were a light skin. Right now you look like a nigga."
Okay, we're gonna skip this goofball, Keisha. Ain't even sticking with the subject. Get out of here. And into a colorism. Boy, you cannot. Like I said, you can't have them on a panel. I can't. I'm never get. What was wrong with me even sharing her input?
Work the very same way, and over time, those mean a certain feeling, just like certain kinds of feelings always.
It's like, are you serious? They're trying to make you. They're trying to showcase. Oh, it's so painful and so much trauma. Get out of here.
Words always come.
It's a weakness, man. If anything, don't even respond to these people. They call them something back. And just say, hey, now we even. I'm a nigga, you a cracker. You a peckerwood. You a honky. Shout out to Afro Man. We gonna hear his input too. All right, just get him back and say, what you gonna do? Because they just trying to get you to act out. They're really trying to get you to catch a case. But what would end up happening, you would end up probably catching the case. He'll end up catching the case. And you'll just be dragged into this degenerate cycle of this degenerate with the law. Now you got something on your record. Just want to, So, yeah, there's a lot of good reason on both sides. But let's continue.
With their histories, they come with certain kinds of feelings. You hear a certain word and you have a certain feeling. Just like you smell a certain thing and you have a certain memory. And words work the very same way. And over time, those meanings...
No. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Adhere to the word. And we can't really pull them off and get rid of them.
They said it's still used negatively today. But that's only by Brad and Becky. Well, no, it's not. What am I talking about? Brad, Becky, and black men, black males. It's negatively. I talked about this on my SBW channel. When black males use it in reference to other black males, it's in a negative way. It always is. I don't care if it roll off the tongue in a positive way, as if you're saying my man or my homie or whatever. No, it's a negative way. That's why they use it when they're attacking each other. And you don't use other words of endearment. They don't use other words of endearment when they attack each other. Does that make sense? They don't call each other brothers or gang when they attacking each other, whether it be firearms or with their fists. It's always, N-word this, N-word this, N-word that. And they use it more often when they get hostile and violent, right? That's that Keisha, that's that demon, man. That came from Brad. So even when we use it, it's in a negative way. But let's continue.
Be allowed to use it. I know that, it's a word that is very, very prevalent in the black community. And I think
it primarily came from music. This rap. The use increased via rap music. I mean, can we Am I the only one who believes that? It increased heavily through rap music. Keep it a buck, man. That's what it was for, to help popularize it.
You know, it's a word that is very, very prevalent in the black community, and I think the word only has power when it's used in a negative way. So I'm not a fan of anybody using it negatively.
I think as an educator, when I hear that term, it tells me that in some way, shape, or form that kid might not have the self-respect that they need to have. I think that any self-respecting young person is not going to use a term that is universally viewed as derogatory to describe themselves.
In the past, I could start a conversation in the classroom.
Okay, this is goofy. I don't want to hear this brag. And then this goofy Keisha ends it with, no, I want to hear, you got to hear this craziness right here. See, this right here is what helped to popularize it among black Americans. What you're about to hear right here and who it's coming from.
Automatically, like, if it's African American, if it's African American, it'll like slide by me. I won't hear it. But if it's like white or something, then it'll just be weird. Because I know that there's a lot of racist kids here, and they can't say that. It's just, it doesn't feel right. The history behind it, like, you called us that before while being rude and beating us and all this other stuff. Like, you just don't. Got treated badly. We were slaves. You can't use that word ever in your life. Like, you just can't. Even if you have a whole bunch of black friends, that's not an excuse to be able to say it at all. No.
I hear coded language.
But you heard her say when black people use it, she don't hear it. It slides by her. That Keisha motherhood tactic, method of raising, that's a huge reason why it became more popular in black America. Being raised by these type of Keisha-minded Keishas. Whereas, black men was trying to remove it from our vocabulary. That was happening. You're not going to deny history. That's just what was happening. These Keishas, that's why we use a lot to play it inside of the home. Where would you listen to most of your music at as a young child? Wasn't it inside your home, your bedroom? Wasn't it? Even for these modern generation of people, black people, same thing. Ain't that where it start? That's where it start. I remember when I was 12, 13, that's when they had cassette tapes and they had the parental advisory sticker on the cassette tapes. I think that continued with CDs too. We had whatever we want to listen to in our home. Well, no policing. And again, when you're young, that's when you're conditioned most. Most of your conditioning start when you're young. So let's just be mindful of all the facts. You know what I'm saying? But this mentality right here is what really, because you wouldn't have been able to listen to it in their homes. They was in control of what? 65, 70% of homes in black America? Right? You see, the black American, the black male population who don't use that word, were, I think, that remaining 30, 35%. Yes. It's turning into church almost. Saturday morning. You've always had this population of black men who never used the word. That was those black men who were not in those single mother-headed homes. Their kids was using it. The Keisha's kids was using it. That's where it was prevalent. And you know, if you watch these documentaries of these gangsters, these drill gangsters, it's crazy how all of them were raised by single mothers. All of them. King Von, all of them. It'll just spill out because the vlogs that they do, and I'm not talking about video, they do vlogs and like interviews, and it'll just come out. Yeah, my OG, that's what they call them. They're in Chicago. When they say my OG, and I saw some people wondering what they're talking about when they say my OG called me, or I gotta go home, my OG called me, just text me. They're talking about their mother. Their single mother. It's so common that they giving their single mother a nickname. And they all use the word. So where does this population of black men come from who don't use the word? It was the ones who was not under their leadership. That's where the productive black men come from. That's where I come from. My grandparents didn't use that word. My uncles didn't use that word. Never. And dude, if I ever referred to them using that word, man, I get slapped. I don't know about nobody else. I came from a productive blue-collar family who has morals, who has some degree of class. We had our craziness. But the black male population under Keisha, and that we all know this, nobody's stupid, the ones who use that word the most. So, yeah, that's a problem. But even them, it shouldn't bother them. They're the ones using it all the time. Right? Y'all should be the first ones to just, hey, a Brad come. This is my advice. Brad come, because you know they're just looking for trouble anyway, just trying to trigger you. Call them something else in return and say, now what? Now do something. Now you did to them exactly what they did to you. Take your pick. A cracker, a caveman, Neanderthal. You got plenty of options. Call them something in return, say, now do something. Now what? But don't tweak out just then. Try to get them to act first. Right? Just don't give them that luxury. That's the world to them. You have no idea. They feel so superior when they can trigger you using that word. I hate seeing that. I like to see black people handle it with class, handle it in a smart way, because they don't expect you to. They expect you to get emotional. They expect you to get emotional, and then they find entertainment in you getting emotional. That's what he wanted to monetize. That's why he wanted to monetize it, because they talk about this stuff all the time online. And that's another thing. These Keishas don't study these white supremacists. They don't go to these white supremacist websites just to see what these people talk about, because they do it to us. These white supremacists are always watching us, watching what we're talking about. Y'all see them at work, don't you? You be around a black person talking. It can be just one black person, but if it's more than one, like it's 3 black men, they're going to just walk up and be nosy as all get up just to see what you're talking about. But all in the conversation, not going to show no respect. Okay? But when they're talking, they're going to expect some privacy. Right? Yeah? But when you talk, oh no, we got to see what you're talking about. And always interjecting themselves. Well, they constantly being disrespectful. And you know, this is another problem. The use of the N-word is a problem. Being sensitive and overreactive to it is a problem. And like I said, you can't call 65, 70% of the households innocent, guilt-free. When you control that much of Black America, you are responsible for the majority of Black America. Period. It's a responsibility y'all accepted, and that you've continued culturally. I'm saying this primarily comes from Keisha culture. This N-word. I'm talking about the use among Black men. That's a reflection of y'all's failure as parents. You all said you could do it on your own. Do it on your own. Don't start wagging your fingers at Black men when you done said, oh, I can do it on my own. You got failures? Accept those failures. That's a massive percentage of Black America to be in control of. 65, 70%. And you know good and well that they don't police what their kids listen to. That's why these people invested in prisons and created Gangster Act. Because they knew how they raised these kids. They let them listen to whatever they want. And I think even the overreaction to that word came from Keisha culture. Because that's a culture of emotion. Not cognitive power. Not impulse control. It's a culture of acting on impulse. They injected so much emotionalism into Black America. It'd be criminal to ignore it. It's crazy, man. The boys not being raised by their biological fathers. And the ones who are, just so many of them had fathers who are gang members. King Von's father was a notorious gang member. A bunch of them. Fathers. Notorious Duck's father. Notorious gang members. Drug dealers. He was killed by a sniper. So it doesn't even matter if your father. So especially when you're this far removed from when it first happened, that generation of Black fathers, like in the 50s, was like the last generation of quality Black fathers. Once they broke it, now they're reconditioning a whole new Black male population. Using the N-word constantly and overreacting to it at the same time. But at the same time, you know, some of these brads deserve to get bopped across the head. You know, Brad, you walk up to me talking about N-word, you can think okay. You might just catch me. I might just take that charge. I'll pay for that little you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can understand Black men wanting to slap these dudes up because it's probably just weirdos and troublemakers. You know, the troublemaking that run through them is so rampant because that sarcasm. That's part of it. That's part of being a troublemaker. You catch me in the wrong mood, man, I'm gonna want to slap you with your little stupid sarcasm. You don't know what people going through. You know what I'm saying? People could have death in the family, come to work. You know, they don't even gauge where a person is mentally. They just come out with that random. It's like, get out of here, man. Yeah, get out of here, Keisha. That was weak. That's weak. Black people, you can say it as much as you want, but you white people, you can't say that ever. White people can say whatever they want. Okay? And you can't stop them. That's the reality. You can't stop them. Now what you gonna do after that? Huh? Start throwing fists? Get emotional? exactly what they want you to do. There's no strategy in these homes. There's no really planning. You know, dads, they prepare you for how to deal with racists and racism because they deal with so much of it. We deal with the brunt of it. We deal with the majority of racism. Black men. Society's always coddled to them, giving them free stuff. That line from Malcolm X was false. It's always been false. So yeah, man. Now, Roland Martin, your boy Roland, had a decent moment when he posted a video of somebody else talking. The Afro Man explains why he doesn't use the N-word. Now remember, Roland is Caribbean, right? So there's going to be some, just brace yourself.
Prompted that choice?
Well, first of all, the N-word is the most offensive word in the English language. I don't like being greeted with it. I don't address my brothers and sisters with it. Like, if you're on the Lakers, you're not going to say, fuck the Lakers. If you're a Mexican, you're not going to walk around going, hey, Beaner, what's happening? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel black people should disrespect the home team. You know, I know in America, they hear it so much. Like if I had give me a bunch of white kids.
All right,
they're all right here. Give them to me as babies.
Here you go.
Right? And when I see it, I say, hunky, 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 hunky. I separate them from the older white people that love them. The older white people that's going to give them dignity and pride and say, hey, we're Americans. We're white people. I separate them from them people. And I got them.
The fathers.
Over here in my little chicken coop. And I'm like, you're a honky. Honky, 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 honky. What are those little white kids going to grow up saying?
Cracker, honky.
And then they're going to shake. They're going to be like, what's up, my honky? They're going to have pride when they say it. Like, what's up, honky?
Yeah.
Innocent and uninformed because I done separated them from the people that will give them the dignity and pride to say that. So I'm thinking hundreds of years ago.
Stop. Should I stop there? Should I let him go on? Okay? What he's actually talking about is the fathers. The separation from the fathers. But he does make another valid point, in my opinion. He does make another valid point.
The black people that couldn't speak English, nigga, 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 nigga. Sometimes I watch a movie, the slave would be like, whose nigga is you? You know, they don't know no better. They don't know they're the original man God created. They don't know they invented the pyramid. They don't know the Moors took knowledge to the Greeks and the Egyptians took.
Okay, so he's going, you know, he's on this, we're really Africans, we're Americans now, but I think that's where he stands. We're Americans now, but we came from Africa.
And the more
somebody in the chat room said we're not American either. That's a hard argument to make, man. Now, I have my criticisms of Tariq, but when it comes to history, man, I stay away from that dude, man. I don't challenge him when it comes to history, dude. He just crushed some dude today for saying that. And it was like, irrefutable. If we're not American, what are we? Some African tribe in Africa, right? But all those tribes in Africa didn't exist just a couple hundred years ago. Before colonization, they didn't exist. Their lands didn't have no names. They were just nomadic tribes. This is a fact. They were roaming nomadic tribes. That's how all those different ethnicities got created. They were just roaming together. And they would eventually form their own languages. They don't know who they are either. They'll tell you. This African dude said that, Yeah, our land had no name. And you don't know what tribe he was. Them tribes over there was recently created, man. And our history actually go back farther than theirs. This is true. We're more American than they are African. I don't. Now, if you got a rebuttal. Now let's get back to the subject here. I think he make a valid point. You know, we wasn't calling ourselves the N-word. It's something that came from Brad. And because it came from Brad, Keisha allowed it to be passed to her sons. Let's keep it a buck. Where do you really think the black men came from who don't use that word? This is so many of us who don't use that word. And we're pure American. We are American. Where do you think we came from? We weren't under Keisha's rule like that. And it was crazy because you would have these Keishas born from families who were not like that. Who didn't listen to that type of stuff. Who didn't use that type of language in their home. But then when they broke off in this independent feminist, they started getting buck wild. They would let their kids listen to anything. They would watch anything on TV. It was just insane. It was a crazy era. A lot of people forget about that era, man. It was like morals just started. Families changed quick. Moral values in the average black American's home changed quick. Don't we always talk about that? It was when these Keishas became in control of it. I'm telling you, man, this is a hard era for them. The truth need to be told, man. These are facts. They crippled black America in so many ways, dude. It's hard to list. Until that's dealt with, man, you ain't getting nowhere. Y'all gonna keep laying up with them, having them take your kids, raise them any old kind of way, under all this filth, and you clearly see that over time it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse to the point where their kids was unaliving each other and keeping score on literal scoreboards. Check the score. So, who up? Check the score. Who up? See who up? Check the scoreboard. And that's how they would do it. That wasn't going on, not even when I was a teenager. I was a teenager in the late 80s. Wait a minute, born in 77. In 87, I was 10. By 1990, I was 13. The early 1990s wasn't like that. You never even heard nothing like that. Cats unaliving each other in this, this drill scene. Basically for sport. So over time, it got worse and worse. And a lot of people reflect on the 90s as a violent era. It wasn't like this. So, like, the failure to bring attention to what's going on in those households results in them getting worse over time. That's irrefutable. All this is irrefutable. Right. We ain't African. We're not African, man. We're like more American than they are African, which is crazy for a lot of black Americans to accept, but it's the truth. Most of them don't have birth certificates. You know how crazy that is? They can't trace their lineage not even back to the late 1800s. We traced ours to the mid 1800s. Well, on plantations in Mississippi and Alabama. They can't. How you gonna tell me I don't know who I am? You know who your grandparents are. How you supposed to know what tribe your great-grandparents were when you don't even know who they were. Get out of here. Now we done derailed into a whole nother stream. Lord, I can't let the stream get derailed like that again. It's my off day, and I got time, or I had time to talk. But there's some truth to this, you know. Like I pointed out that I believe we as Americans, black Americans, we've been here for thousands of years. Just like all other black groups all over the world before the colonizers traveled the world and found them there. Every part of the world they went, they found black people who have been there forever, for a long time. And I believe they originally came over here from Egypt. And the evidence is obvious. This is the only other place you find Egyptian architect where it's identical to the major pyramid complex over there. People love to ignore that. I don't understand it. People are just so racist. They're blinded by their races. Oh, it couldn't have been Negroes. Okay, whatever. Even though you got many white historians who say the same thing. They just don't identify the first people over here as black. But they acknowledge that the first people over here had to have come from Egypt, had to have been migrators from, or travelers from Egypt. And that's when they get into going over the boats and how the boats were able to sail over here and all that kind of stuff. So before Brad came up with this word, the N-word came, I think, from Latin, either Latin or Spanish, Negroes or something like that. It came from their culture. And, you know, a lot of black men just don't want to walk, you know, stomp in a name given to us by a group of men who got this weird culture of having hatred for us. You know what I'm saying? Chances are they would reject any type of name we tried to give them as well. So yeah, I don't know, man. And now that I think about it, the whole N-word discussion is really too complicated for me. Because you got to factor in the scenario, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's too much to even delve into. Maybe on a situation by situation basis. I don't know. But I totally agree that too many of us overreact when Brad or Becky say it. That's just what it is. It's what it is. Call them a name back, man. Because listen, the N-word, all they're trying to say is that you're a degenerate, for the most part, right? Some type of subhuman. Call him a nigga back. You the nigga, you the true nigga, you the real degenerate. Look at you acting like a degenerate right now. Right? Usually when they use that word against you, or especially when they say it to your face, they're being a degenerate. So how they gonna call you some type of subhuman degenerate? That don't even make logical sense. I would like to see a black person point that out and handle it like that. What do you mean, nigga? What is a nigga? Why don't you define a nigga first? A nigger is you. Most of them so slow, they couldn't even give you a real definition or description of it. Oh, a low life like you. They probably say something goofy like that. Right? Oh, it's a scum. What could you say it is? A scum, a lowlife, subhuman. That's the worst you could say. That's you right now. Look how you behaving. You can't say I'm physically inferior to you. Let's not even go there. What you trying to say? I'm intellectually inferior? You proving how dumb you are right now. There ain't nothing more degenerate. There's nothing bigger of a joke. There's no bigger of a joke than a degenerate getting in your face being a degenerate trying to call you a degenerate. Like, huh? Yeah, beat it. Psycho Brad. This weird 1800s must. Who you think you is? Wyatt Earp? Why don't they roast these dudes, man? What, like, this is part of what is Keisha removing our ability to roast now? This potato head cowboy mustache having Brad trying to being a degenerate, man, just roast them. They can't roast. These Brad can't roast. They'll get embarrassed. Your face start turning red and they'll walk away. Because that's really what they're trying to do. They're trying to roast. Because they look at the N-word as just like a name. You know. But no, I won't say that. They know it's a lot of malicious intent. That's why they use it so much. They just don't look at it the same way that many of us look at it. But yeah, man, I'd like to see more thought go into the response. And look at what we're talking about right now. How to prepare for being called the N-word. Yeah, that automatically make the offender the other person. N-word. Like if I'm not physically inferior to you, how are you trying to claim any type of superiority? You can't say you're mentally or intellectually superior. There's nothing that Brads have thought of that we haven't. They have never exercised a level of intelligence that we've never exercised. That's never happened. There's not one aspect of society or politics that we don't understand. That don't even make sense. This idea that they're intellectually superior to us. There's no truth. Okay, they're always trying to project themselves as more intelligent. Let's have that conversation. Yeah, you goofballs ain't intelligent. Not no more intelligent than we have proven to be. And if you want to get deep, you already know many things that we've done, y'all haven't done yet. Right? We can compare creativity. That's an expression of intelligence. There's plenty of black geniuses. I'm telling you, these are degenerates who are slow. They're just degenerate, man. Many of these, keep in mind, many of these degenerate racist Brads are real low lives, dude. Just that personality complex to go around, calling black people the N-word. Let you know they probably beat their old lady. Probably, do bad things to their kids. You know what I'm talking about. These be the lowest of the low, degenerate, nasty, decrepit racists you ever want to meet in your life. You can't let nobody control you just throwing out the end. That's why that's the only thing that they can say. They too dumb to come up with anything else. Just like this Chud the Builder guy. He's desperate to be monetized. He said on Twitter that if he can't be monetized, he's not going to do this. That's what he said. If I'm not monetized, I'm not going to do this. So he's a bum. Just lost his job. And obviously that job wasn't paying much. Or else he wouldn't have done this. I guarantee you, he's a bum with no retirement, trying to cash out because he getting old. And then he figured this is the best way. And Brad made a video and pointed out, why don't you just make good content? Because he's not creative enough. walking around trying to project himself as more intelligent, but not creative enough to come up with monetizable content and be successful off that, just like many people do. So this is not even do y'all know how many channels have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and have those channels monetized? That's very prevalent here on YouTube, extremely. Just look at your subscription list. He can't even reach that a legit way. All he can do is N-word, 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 chimp, chimp, chimp. You're chimping out. You're chimping out. This is the lowest of the low, degenerate type of Brad. Racist, white, and here's the crazy, what's also crazy, his supporters are the same way. They're the same way. And I won't say that. They are the same way. But a lot of them are these white collar who try to, pretend to like black people. And they appreciate these Brads who just come out and are overt with it like he is. But I don't like to see dumb, degenerate, low IQ, because that's what they are. That's what this dude is. If you can't come up with something to talk about on YouTube, you're slow. If you can just mirror what somebody else is doing and just try to do a better job. Just get into the mix. Too slow to even do that. Where your content can be based on other people's content. A lot of YouTubers do that and become successful YouTubers doing it. Get ideas from their own subscriptions. You're too slow to even do that. All he can do is go around, you're chimping out, N-word, N-word. Stop. So yeah, it's good to know that a lot of us understand these types of Brads. Okay, somebody said. Okay. All right. We will end it there. I'll see y'all in the next live.